Man, you know what today is, right?
The second?
It's Groundhog Day.
Is that really?
Yeah. It's Groundhog
Oh,
Day today,
makes
man.
sense. Makes sense.
Do you know there's multiple Groundhog Days? Like, it's not just the one in Pennsylvania. Um, that there's multiple cities that do this. Are you aware of that?
No.
Um,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't quite get Groundhog Day anyway.
well, I mean, I
Besides the
don't
movie.
think it's serious. But I'm trying to find this thing that I saw earlier. There's a city, I want to say, let's see. Yes, it is New Jersey. It's your peeps.
Mm-hmm.
They do it with Milltown Mel is the name of their groundhog.
Oh, okay.
Tragedy struck today though.
Passed.
He died.
Yeah.
Died like right before he was going to do it.
It's a way to go out.
It's average life expectancy of a groundhog.
Good question.
It can't be that much, right?
They don't seem like they live long.
It's not like an alligator. I'm gonna guess. I don't know. Maybe like 7 years, 8 years.
Shorter.
Really?
3 years.
3 years. So the odds are pretty high that one of these is going to die. They didn't have a backup plan though. So I guess New Jersey's just on hold on whether it's going to be spring or not.
I mean, they just got a ton of snow.
Yeah.
So I think that might be why he died.
He froze to death.
Yeah. So
it's the Sports Den brought to you by ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Make sure you get to an ABC. It's also National Signing Day today.
Mm-hmm. Florida's in the news making. I don't want to compare him to this because I don't want anybody to get offended, but Billy Napier covered Willie Taggart type ground.
What are they in the news for?
No, I'm saying like the sign, like they
had
some key signings and signed the local.
They're waiting to hear on the Harold Perkins kid. I know that.
Is that the safety?
The Texas A&M guy. They committed to Texas A&M, but opened it back up to committed during like the Army game or something like that. Opened it back up, and he's a 5-star kid. So they're waiting to hear on that. But I'm hearing that like Dion may be in play for that cat too.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that the linebacker?
I don't know.
If it's a linebacker that was like that, there's a Texas A&M logo on him. He's going to Jacksonville State. Jackson State.
You got to get this right. Dion's going to get on you, man.
Well, yeah. I don't really give a damn about.
It's disrespectful to Dion
or his thoughts, but I'm not trying to disrespect them.
Jackson State and Jacksonville State plays. Who wins?
Oh, right now? Next season, I will give it to Jackson State.
It'd be a good game.
Yeah.
Jacksonville State. Actually, Jacksonville State's kind of a cool story because they took beatings for years from teams in money games, and they took all that money and put it right back in the facilities, and now their facilities are unreal. Mm-hmm. They did it the right way. I mentioned Signing Day on ABC because some of you parents, not some of, all you parents, if you have a kid who's signed, you need to go to ABC and celebrate. Not the kid, they're too young. But you need to go get you a good bottle of something, celebratory something, pat yourself on the back because you navigated through the toughest recruiting year in the history of football. Mm-hmm. And your kid moved on. So congrats to you guys. Congrats to all the kids that are signing today as well, whether it is Major Division I or NAIA or PWO this year. Like it always is good, but this year it really means something in any of those situations.
I don't understand this PWO thing.
What do you not understand? Because I've been educated on it.
I understand PWO.
I didn't charge those, Miles, so that's why I didn't turn them on, so they wouldn't turn off in the middle.
I know what a PWO is, and I understand it. I don't get it. Like, there's a clear distinction for
PWO stands for preferred walk-on.
Kid who isn't developed, not where you're at, maybe just off. I get it. Practice player, you really don't have any future like thoughts for this kid. You kind of just want to get another look, and if he works out, it's great. And I'm going to get on my soapbox, and it's really more so for one kid that I don't understand especially these two schools that he's narrowed it down to.
He's about Davin.
About Davin Widener, who's all-state quarterback.
Yep, 6'5".
From Cocoa High School, 6'5", got to be over 2 bills, right?
It was 220.
220. Cannon arm, went to the state championship, checks all the competitor. One school said before all of this happened, man, we like him. We can't bring him in because he'll scare off our top-rated blue chip quarterback.
Yep.
But he's a PWO?
I know.
I'm just saying, like, I don't understand that one.
I seriously have aged like 10 years over the Davin Widener recruitment this year. Like it's there's a lot of crazy recruiting stories, and every year it's like this kid slipped through the cracks. This one is the wildest thing. I mean, to back up what you're saying, like the kid he checks all the boxes on and off the field. So it's like you sometimes see a big kid who can throw, but he doesn't have the production. This kid has produced for 4 years in a row.
Or he's not a good athlete. I just go back to the clip that you sent me.
Right.
Like he can move.
Yeah. It's wild. But the PWO world right now, man, it's hot because what's happening is with the transfer portal. Now, if you're a kid, and take Davin out of this, he's getting screwed.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting absolutely screwed. But if you're a kid, and let's say you go to pick a college, any college, South Carolina, as a PWO. And the next year they lose, 5 guys to the transfer portal. Well, they can pull you up. They can bring you to a scholarship where they can't necessarily just add that to their next class. And so a lot of these PWOs are getting converted to scholarships, fairly quickly.
Right. I get that part.
Yeah.
I've always understood that part. I think I've shared what my story was. Very similar. More a blue shirt is more so what it was with me. Academically, I know why I was in the situation I was in, because academically I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I had a 30 on the ACT, but I had a 2.3 core GPA.
That's a very definition of not trying.
Right. Well, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I didn't go to
I had a 30 on the ACT.
My junior year, I went to my coaches. I went to a couple. Even in college, I always go to my history classes. I love history. I love reading. Those are my favorite things to do. Math. I went to a middle school. It was alternative middle school, but they put us in high school math class. So I took pre-algebra 7th grade, algebra 1, 8th grade. And I'm in geometry in 9th grade. They're not really teaching me that well. In geometry, it ain't nothing but letters and angles. And once you start saying, like, a squared plus b squared equal, I was like, where the numbers at, B? Like, I don't
this
know.
ain't math.
This ain't math. Like, you're asking me to be way too abstract for a guy who's extremely literal for a lot of the stuff that I do. So I just said, bump it. I just do the bare minimum to get me out. And I was, in my era, we were taught that. Just be good. If you're good, they'll find you. But they don't tell you about, they'll tell you about the guy who came in. They used to do was a prop 48s and things like that. They'll tell you about those superstars, but they won't tell you about the hundreds of thousands of people who are now in a corner somewhere doing those things. And I lucked up. I still don't know how I got into Florida State, but I got in and it worked out for me. But if you're at Florida State, that guy might transfer out and you may benefit from getting out. But if there's a mass exodus, you're going to stink. If you're at the good schools, you know what they're doing every year? And this is even when I took somebody's position. I grew to appreciate that every year they brought me in to take somebody's spot, and they brought somebody in to take my spot.
That's right.
That's the only way to get better. And actually, it's one of the things that made me like Willie Taggart, FAU coach first. When I heard what he said to the guys at Oregon when he took over, he's like, "It's my job to bring in the best competition to take your spot. It's your job to do everything in your power to not let your spot be taken. And if I do my job and you do your job, we're going to win a lot of football games." And that's the mindset that you got to take. It's no longer the mindset of today's kids. I don't even put on the kids. It's not because parents enjoy recruiting just as much as kids these days. But it goes from high school on. Like, people are afraid of competition. And that's why you're seeing the level of play go down and things of that nature. But I just don't like, again, the PWO thing it's not I liked it more when it was 2 to 3 PWOs a year, like for school. But like you got guys like signing 10 PWOs.
Ooh.
Florida State's got a ton of PWOs coming.
Yeah,
in
I
they
mean,
just had a kid who's dad. My boy OJ told me, I had no idea, but the dad played at Florida, and he's coming to walk on at FSU.
it's interesting. Yeah,
and maybe
because
maybe
most
not
are
10.
signing like 3, 4.
But it's like if like and they didn't make all the pomp and circumstance for it. Like you're never gonna. Like, I don't want to say never, because again, you heard about me, but you're more than likely not going to ever hear from this kid again. And that's the part where, and it's not because the kid isn't good, because this is no different in any aspect in life. I was lucky, injuries happen too, but my coach really, really recruited me hard. And it was a situation where they really all knew the value. I was never, for the few months that I had to use my own money, I was never treated any different than anybody else. That doesn't happen for everybody.
Right.
Most of these guys, like if they don't have money invested in you, they don't have to give you a chance. Because at the end of the day, what happens? They'll cut you, or you won't be on the roster. And that's the part where that's where I'm like, man, if you got space, right? Just let the and you really like the kid. Get a kid the offer. Get a kid.
I agree. No, I agree. I don't know. I almost think like in some cases, especially a quarterback, because that's all I really know about. I don't know about the other positions. It's almost become like a badge of honor for some of these schools to go, we PWO to 3-star.
Oh, it's like I see it in my 5th quarter message board. I'm like, oh, Florida State has a 4-star. They're actually early enrolled. There's a defensive end from down south that I think is a preferred walk-on. And I'm like, that doesn't make it like who's this kid's like mentor? Like who's advising this kid? I don't. If Trey Coleman, my son, or Kai are good enough to get, they don't have to go to Florida State. If Florida State comes to my house and offers them a PWO, and we have a scholarship to FAMU, we're going to FAMU.
Yeah.
We're not we're
Agree.
going where we're wanted. Where they're putting the money, and that has nothing to do. Like I played there. I have an affinity for it. They can still be fan. Like I have a friend who played at Wisconsin who's a big Florida State fan. Like you can be a fan of the school and not go there, but what we're not going to do is go in debt.
Yeah.
I think college is a scam anyway. The last thing I'm going to do is get scammed and play football. Like we can talk about they're already playing football for free, but at least they get a scholarship.
Right.
I'd be damned if I'm going to have to pay for the opportunity to play for free.
Yeah, like it's a 4-year camp.
I mean, again, I'm not knocking it. If it works for you, it works for you. It's worked for others. It's just
what I'm knocking is just recruiting in general. Like I literally tell people this. I literally hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I don't want to cover it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't pay attention to it. I even hate it with my job with the quarterbacks. Like the relationships I have at colleges are not recruiting based. So if you're a dad listening to this and you're like, hey, we're going to go train at 6 Points and Denny's going to get my kid a scholarship. No, I'm not. Y'all stop. It's not happening. Like I'm not making, this happens to me. Like I'll have a kid come in twice and then I'll have the dad be like, hey, can you call such and such? No, I can't. That's not what you're paying me for. You're paying me to train. You're not paying me to call this coach or that coach. Do I call coaches over that? Yes. Davin Widener, I've burned up phones because it's a crime. What's happening to him?
There's a young man that was at Marinara High School. My son's godfather's where he's the head coach at. Kid named Tony Carter. Straight baller. Like crazy. Like I've like I don't know what's gonna happen in college, but like as far as practice, as far as when you watch the game changer. I've called everybody, everybody for him. Now he's going to Washington State. Congratulations to him. I think it's a crime that was his only true FBS offer, because if I don't know anything, I know he can play FBS. And what I always joke with a lot of people is with some of the coaches, I'm like, bro, you've known me for how long? And I don't give you like I don't give kids.
Well, that's the
because
thing.
my fear is I mess around and tell somebody that, hey man, this kid is good, and then the kid goes up there and he becomes a turd and he doesn't do anything, and now you've messed it up for when I do find a Tony Carter, and I'm like, yo, but what does tend to happen more, and I'm sure this happens for you more than me picking up the phone and calling the coach.
Yeah,
the coaches will find out I have a relationship with the kid. They'll pick up the phone and call me and say, hey James, what do you think? And I'm gonna be honest with you. 90% of y'all don't want me calling. I'm gonna tell the kids. I'm not gonna tell them like anything bad, but let's put like, for example, if it's Florida State, I'm not sending anybody to Florida State that I don't think meets the standard. Now, whether we can get that or not, and I've talked to them about some of the kids that we've had committed because I've seen them, I've played against them, and not talking bad about the kid as a person. I'm talking about, is that kid, my friend Ho, who doesn't is in between jobs or not, but had the greatest saying when it came to
they
recruiting.
let him go?
Yeah, he didn't get hired back. They kept who did they keep? They kept one guys, but the greatest, which is also funny because Kiwan Ratliff going to Florida State is hilarious to me. The Florida fans ain't liking that at all.
I didn't even know Kilwan went to Florida State.
Yeah, he just picked up like last Friday they announced Corey Fuller and Kiwan Ratliff. And what if like Kawhi's like, what y'all want me to do? I gotta work.
Right.
I didn't ask to like what Billy did was Billy not fired. He told everybody that you're not, I gotta re-interview you to see if I'm gonna bring you back.
Right.
And then he brought some back and he moved on with some. But Hove has this phrase, and this is something that every fan, like when you're looking at the recruits, just think about it. And he asked me about another local kid, and I said, he's a great kid. I think he's a Big Ten kid. He's not an SEC. He's not an ACC kid, which is not, again, nothing wrong with that. You have to understand where your skill set matches. I said, will that kid, I said, he asked me, I said, Ho, will that kid help you beat Alabama? Will they help you beat Georgia? Will they help you win games in the SEC? I was like, I don't see, like, and not like 3 years from now can they do that? Yep. And people are like, well, that's not fair. They got to develop. And I say, hold up. Every other sport in the NCAA operates like that. I have a good friend who's a sprint coach at Florida State. I got news for you. You just because you win every local track meet, that does not mean you're going to school for, like, you run a 10.5, you're going to be a PWO in track. If you can't score them points at nationals, they don't want you. They're not going to give you money coming out of high school if you can't score points at nationals. So what does that mean? That means you got to be damn near Olympic quality to be able to get money out of the top program.
Well, I think that's good for parents to hear, because I'm going to pull back a little bit on what I just said. I hate recruiting, but I have influence from the sense of college coaches call me and they see things that I post, and we have emails that go out that just kind of show what we think of guys. That's as far as it goes. But the parents who say, I believe my kid can play at Florida. I don't have to see your kid. I don't have to see your kid to say this. Like, there's a 95% chance he can't. Like, you don't.
I can tell you, I'm gonna qualify it for you. So people listening, this is how this is how you know. This is the bottom line stuff. So this is how you gonna know. Obviously, was your kid a starter? Did your kid start? I don't want to hear the coaches didn't like my kid, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's baseline. That's base level. Yep.
Listen, is your kid a starter?
Right.
Okay. Now we got to look at the stats, but forget all of that.
I can't tell you the last time stats mattered in high school, though.
It doesn't. How fast do they run? Okay. Fine. What are you doing?
Size.
Yeah, obviously.
Size.
I'm actually
biggest one.
I'm going to really narrow it down. In the state of Florida, if your kid's 6 foot, over 200 pounds, and runs sub 5 flat, there's somewhere for them. Might not be Florida, but somebody will give them money if they got grades. But what I mean is this: when people always come to me when their kid is either a junior going into their senior year or it's their senior season, and I'm like, what do you want me to do besides take your money? Can I make your child better? Yes. Is it too late? Yes. Did you, when that kid was in 8th or 9th grade, I'll go, you know what, 10th grade. Let's just go. That's the latest. Free game here. latest in the 10th grade, what were you doing to separate your child from the pack? Oh, well, we went to the weights at school. I don't care how good your strength and conditioning coach is at school. Their job as a strength and conditioning coach of a team, my job is not to get your child better. My job is to get the team better based upon standards that I think we need to have on the field.
There's no personalization.
There's no personalization. What you want in a scholarship is personalization. Are you going to see somebody that's making your child better? Not just there are a couple good 7-on-7s locally. Ahmad Christian does a really, really good job. Kareem Birch, they're
Pro Impact.
Pro Impact.
Yep.
Korn, Mikhail Carnegie.
Yeah.
They're 7-on-7 coaches, but they can also take your child and develop the skill set. So are you doing that? And you'd be surprised at over the years how many times I've heard people say, well, I want them to be a child. They got to enjoy high school.
Then you don't want them to play in college.
You can't play.
Right.
Like right now, even when I play, but it's even worse. If you don't early enroll, your child is going to be behind. And you know what happens when you early enroll? You're probably going to miss prom. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to not. They may let
baseball, basketball.
They're letting them walk now. They're letting them at least go back and walk in school.
Some schools.
You're not going to be able to play that winter sport. And miss me with this, like. Urban Meyer, if they don't play 2 to 3 sports, we don't recruit them. If they don't listen, these guys are playing 2 to 3 sports like you're in the hood playing 2 to 3 sports. Like they're running track and they ain't going to track practice. They're going to do all their other stuff. They're just fast. So they ain't really doing track. They're doing football. My top baseball players don't play other sports. They play baseball because it's skilled, and they go and they train to help make them.
They may have grown up playing other sports, which I'm finding people count.
Which is fine if you grew up. Like right now, Trey will be a basketball player and a football player. Yeah. Possibly baseball if I can sneak it in. Probably more.
No, he's getting too late for that.
Yeah, it's 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
it's the difference between trained and untrained. But when I go back to it, I wanted to be a kid. We don't have enough time. Like, dude, then your kid is not good enough to play Power 5. You have to find time because there's a kid in Middle America. There's a kid in Miami. There's a kid in New Jersey. Hell, nowadays there's kids in Canada. What they're doing is they're training. They're working their ass off and they're separating themselves from your child. You have to do something that stands out on film. That stands out on film first. Well, and then secondly, when they look at you,
you got to look different.
You have to look like they
you got to look so different than everybody else that they remember you. Like that's the thing. The college coaches don't know. They can't tell you what they want to see, but they know when they see it. We have, I don't know, 60 guys playing college football right now. We're going to sign 16 to 18 this year. So I'm not saying like it's impossible. What I'm saying is I know what it looks like, and we train over 400 quarterbacks.
It's improbable.
It is and we don't train 400 quarterbacks that are just quarterbacks. We have a process on how you get in. So they're already good. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like we've already, for the most part, this isn't always true, but we've already identified a talent or a skill set that could translate. So even identifying that.
And then your films stink. Stop sending me.
Yeah.
You're sending me these films that are 10 minutes long. I don't know what you think my day is. And I get it. I'm on Twitter a lot. I do actually. Dilla made me feel really, really bad about how much I don't tweet. Like my man tweets, he tweets 85 to 100 times a day. Now it makes sense too why his stuff hits. I that's a lot. I can't do that much. But
I tweet like 4 times a week.
Like if you send me a film, and any college coach will tell you got 3 plays to get me to sit, and I ain't sitting longer than 2 minutes. I got that's it. But like. You're a running back and you putting your first play as a 5-yard gain. I didn't get that anywhere. Mm-hmm. And then what really makes me mad, because now if you're a friend of mine, I'll go a little bit longer for you.
I already know what you're gonna say. When play number 40 is unreal.
It's like, one kid.
Why wasn't that one?
Like this is one kid. He was like, tell me what you think about his running back. I'm like, he stinks. Whoa, he returns kicks. Yeah. And he took it to the house. I'm like, and then you see 4 kickoff returns, and then I'm seeing a 75-yard run. I'm like, why would you put that in the beginning?
Yes.
Like,
There's an art to it. It's just
bottom line is your kid's probably not. I don't think the transfer portal is not the transfer portal is affecting things. It is. But like when I went back and I just the stats. I'm sorry, the statistics show the top schools are still signing a ton of high school.
Hold on. The transfer portal is affecting things, but what's affecting this class of 22 more than anything else is the fact that they never got evaluated. That's
bigger. That's the bigger issue. I think in 4 years.
And next year, it's already like 2023. Yeah, I mean, we got 10 kids. Our guys got like 80 offers last week. It's almost 23 and 24 guys.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, so I can't speak for every state, but the state of Florida, this isn't getting into political part of stuff. Like him or don't like him. Ron DeSantis gave everybody a choice in the state of Florida when COVID happened. He literally said, if you want to hold your kid back a year, we won't hold it against them.
Did the FHSA go along with that?
Not 1,000% sure about that, but think about this. So one, FHSA has petition policy. So there are plenty of, even dating back to when I played, Antonio Cromartie is a perfect example. He got a 5th year. Antonio Cromartie was like the top corner in my class in 2022, but he signed in 23. He got a chance to play. But let's say Davin, he signed. He played 2 years. He was a top 20.
He signed in 03.
My bad. 03.
Yeah, I was okay.
02, 03. My bad. But like, let's say Davin. Let's just use him for example. Like, let's say he didn't play his senior year. You already know that he'll be an early enrollee. He has a chance to just do nothing but training and sit on your film, sit on your tape. College kid, basically what the college kids did this past draft, the guys who opted out like of their football season and just say, hey, I'm sitting on what I did, what I've done in the past. It might not work. It may. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, my younger kids, I would have said that.
You know what the move is now?
But it's the like Duval red shirt is what we used to call it.
Well, the move at the college level now is don't hit the portal in December, especially if you've already graduated.
Right.
Hit the portal after that spring semester starts, and then if you've already graduated, because all classes are online now. Like you can take them online, and then just go train for 4 or 5 months, so almost like the combine, and then go back to college. And then it's like you can take your visits, you can do all that kind of stuff. We've had 5 calls from guys doing that are about to hit the portal, and I'm like, but you're not gonna. Yep, that's the plan. We're gonna come down to Jacksonville. We're gonna train. We're gonna take an online class, and then we're gonna be ready to rock in June.
Actually, it makes sense because, like, one thing I would tell, my mom told me to do this. I wish I would have done this. I didn't. I don't have any student loan debt. I'm blessed with that. But I wish I would have took like 10 to 20 because you can't get an interest rate like that from anywhere. Like it's very little.
Yeah.
So like, but when you think about what combine training costs about 10 to 20. And if you go to a good one,
it's more than that.
Yeah. What I'm saying, but if you go to a really good train, like you don't have like the difference in you're training every day.
Yeah.
Like, but if you're in class and if you're spending 3 to 4 days a week and you're focused solely on football, like you're going to get exponentially better. And I think that's a hell of an investment. Like, I'm willing to take that investment.
No, I mean, if it was my kid, all right, cool, go do it. Anyway, signing day. I don't know. We could talk recruiting all day. We really could. And I don't mean to like bash parents. I never mean to bash parents. It's just like I'm around these dudes all day. Like most of y'all's kids just aren't the same. And you got to realize you're looking through dad and mom eyes. And you're like, well, even though my kid's 5'10" and that kid's 6'4", I think my kid can hang with them. You're stop. It's just different. It's just different.
It's going to be,
and then you get all stressed out, and then the whole thing like turns into a relationship issue. I can't tell you how many times that happens. Kid can't go home without you talking about recruiting and all that kind of stuff, and then there's a block there, and it's just
worse
it turns bad.
It's like you're pitting them against their friends.
Yep. Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Like well,
exactly.
You came up, but like, and this isn't. I hope this isn't. But Trey got Charles, Trey, Mason, all same age, really good athletes. But imagine if Trey gets the big scholarships and Charles, who's been every step of the way, they've gone everywhere. They've come up through Pop Warner. They've done all of this stuff together. And Charles has started. He's done some things and nobody's recruiting him. And then it becomes like, man, well, that's favoritism. I've seen it. Or I've seen people say, man, I used to beat him foot racing.
Exactly.
And this back in the day, and now he got these offers. And I'm
bro, like, we stopped letting a kid come in and train because their dad, get this, would see a kid get an offer and they would contact the college and tell the college everything wrong with the kid that got the offer and try to put their kid on it. And I'm like, whoa. Like, I mean, and so I had to tell the family, like, nah.
You just like, I think one of the things people talk about entitlement, you again.
And by the way, the kid's great. The kid's happy for his friends.
Most of them are. It's typically the parent.
Yep.
And the parent, and the only time the kid gets influenced is when the parent keeps bringing it up.
Every
now
night.
The kid is like, okay, it's got to be, they're choosing him over me for some reason. It's got to be hating. It's got to be this. And typically it's a system. It's a situation that coach fell in love with this kid for some reason that's unbeknownst to all of us.
Right.
You really can't, but it all comes down to is this. And I'm telling you this in love because it doesn't benefit me to not tell you. Your kid, if it doesn't work, your kid's just not good enough. And if you really believe that your kid can play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Enroll your kid in school. Have your kid walk on.
Go to
prove it.
Go to JUCO.
Or go JUCO, go prep school. It's a lot of.
Be careful in the prep school, but yeah.
It's prove it.
Yep.
But what you're gonna find is the answer was already given to you.
Right.
But if you focus on, but it's about having a good experience. Because I want to wrap it up with this. Go to school, get great grades, get good grades, work hard, do some things to separate yourself, and you're going to find that you're going to go to a school and you'll have a great time. You're either going to play on the Division I level, Division II. One of the kids that I really, really like that you bring up all the time is kid Austin Reed. Mm-hmm. I think when his story is all said and done, no matter what, if he does something else, he's at West Florida. He brought them a national championship.
Yep. Mayor of the city, basically.
He'll always be able to go there and always be considered the rock star. I told people the Bo Beach story about him going to UNF when Bo had offers from, like, everybody came on him late. Miami, I believe the University of Rhode Island had just made like a Sweet 16 appearance. Like Loyal, it was a bunch of schools came on him, but UNF was one of the first offers. And I told him, I was like, dude, take them to the playoffs. Take them to the tournament. Like, become like one of their all-time leading scorers or something like that. You're going to always be able to come back home and be a legend. Yep. And no matter what it is, when you have kids, you're going to come back to school. Yep. They're going to be like, yo, why? I don't know how, but when I bring Trey to Florida State, it's a good feeling because everybody there recognizes me, knows. There's
still people there that were there when you were there.
But I'm saying that's a tough thing to do. But if you're able to do it at your college or your high school or wherever it is, it's still a dope-ass story.
Yeah. Let's get to Northeast Florida Executive Health and Med Spa. Let's talk about them for just a second. Over off of St. Johns Bluff, if you're not feeling right, get over there. Hit the reset button. Like, have them do some blood panels, find out what's going on. Why are you sluggish? Why is this not working? Why are you putting on weight other than just eating too much? Things like that. There could be an issue.
So, like, I had my executive physical, and we got the results. You don't have to go back in once you do it. Doc will call you. So me and Doc, it was 15-minute call, which is dope. Because I don't like going to the doctor's office and you got to sit and wait, blah, blah, blah. Me and Doc talked 15 minutes. He was like, hey, there's some crud. There's like a bug in there. Like, we're going to put you on these antibiotics. I just known I've been feeling bad. I didn't know what it was. And your friends are telling you drink sea moss. So they're telling you to do all these other weird things, which I'm not telling you not to do. Fine, do it. Right. But it's cool to have a doc be able to literally look at your stuff and say, oh, we noticed this. And then we also noticed that this is the first time I've been going to doctors pretty consistent, especially since about 6 years ago is when I went into the hospital for diabetes. But he's the first doctor that was sitting there and said, hey, man, we saw a genetic marker. And the genetic marker states, now we're going to figure this out because I'm not going to stop eating steak. And he said chicken. And I was like, bro, you got to find a way. What's a vitamin to help? He was basically saturated fats and some things where my body doesn't handle it well, especially since I'm not burning 8,000 calories a day like I did when I was an elite athlete. My point in all of that is my doc Holdhouse literally looked over the entire thing, told me some stuff. It didn't just tell me things to spook me. This is what we're going to do.
How are you going to fix
this?
This
is the plan. We're going to fix this. and then we're going to talk about this in 4 weeks, and then we're going to keep moving forward until we get you into tip-top health.
We joke about, if you had issues in the bedroom, all that, but the real talk is that is just start feeling better. You'll perform better, not just in bed. Every time I say that, like, that's where I go. But work, relationships,
let's be real, like
all that kind of stuff.
Wars were fought over sex, over women.
Yeah.
Like, so it's pretty important.
Not recently.
I mean, we don't know. I mean, it could have been Putin might have got mad that, 4-5 says something like slapped this old lady on the butt or something like that. And now he's taking it out on Biden. Just joking. I really don't. Please don't take that.
I don't even care anymore. I really don't even care anymore. I used to be like the tiptoe guy and I'd freeze. I don't even care anymore. Like, it is what it is. Like, everybody can agree there's lunacy everywhere now.
Facts.
It doesn't matter what side you're on. We're all idiots. Get to Northeast Florida Executive Health and Med Spa. Okay, walk me through. I've been busy this week. I've been super busy this week, so I haven't had time to do a lot of research other than like our group chats.
Okay.
So walk me through exactly what is going on with Brian Flores and why is he suing the NFL, and what is gosh, I don't want to make this sound this way. Why are black coaches so mad about this? Like, kind of walk me through this.
Oh, well, we go here and talk about it all the time. We've been saying this for years that the Rooney Rule is BS.
Mm-hmm.
And it is. But this is the first time that it's actually been like authenticated that it's BS. There's a difference between implied racism and just out in front.
Okay.
Like, nothing is more discouraging than when you do everything right or the way they tell you to do. Because white people, not only say just white, people in general, because there's black people that will come in on this boat too, will sit there and pound the table and say, well, if you're a good person, if you do this, you do that, then the best man will be hired. And the statistics don't always prove that. And it's not because it's why I think people don't know what systemic means. Systemic means that, like, it was rules that were in place years ago that stayed so long that they're embedded in the very fabric and what we don't.
It's not necessarily a rule.
Yeah, it's not.
Not a conscious decision.
It's not like that's the point. It's like we're not called like habit. You're not racist per se. Like, you're not going up and saying, I want to screw this guy. Mm-hmm. It's just you hire the people that you're around, but why are you only around this certain set of people? And when you go back, you look at it, oh, well, damn, this guy got this opportunity because of this, but these guys couldn't even come over here during that time period. So you got to go back and rectify that because there were laws that were in place. So the only way to rectify that is to put in laws that are the polar opposite to that until we get some balance, which I think
for the record, that law, that not law,
that
rule,
laws, yeah.
The thought behind it was, if I, as a white guy, have only been around white guys my whole life, only interviewed white guys, then when a black guy comes in, it's going to be different. It's going to be weird. I'm not going to hire him because I'm going to be more comfortable there.
It's cultural things.
Right.
It's a lot of other stuff. Like it
had some merit.
It's merit. And to me, it's not even stuff like you're not even trying. Like, so I'm going to use your pops for an example. Okay. I love your pops to death. Mm-hmm. If I would have met your pops at 17, my thoughts of your pops would have been completely different than when I actually first met him. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't know. The only time I've seen guys that talk like that or move like that are in TV. Right. Or like they are doing racist stuff.
Right.
So in the same thing, like when I used to tell people why I don't like Tyler Perry, they used to be like, why? I said, because I'm around a bunch of new white people that ain't never had to encounter black people, and the first thing they think about me is that I'm like what they saw in Tyler Perry plays. I said, do you know how annoying that is to have to go and fight that? And again,
I was disappointed when I realized you weren't Chris Tucker.
Right. And those are the innocent things. Those are the innocent things, right? But it's like every black, like my mom, like I remember talking to a kid, Cole Mazza, one of my running backs. I like white running backs. He wasn't getting recruited. I was like, yo, Cole, I'm about to tell you something that's only going to apply to you in football. But it applies to me, and my mom told me this in every aspect of my life. Dog, you're going to have to be 2 times better than every black running back.
Yep.
Which stinks, but that's a short period of your life. Like, literally, like, I used to feel bad until I got older and stopped caring. Hey, man, like, why can't I say what I want to say? Why can't people do this? And it's going to affect my business. But this guy can go and say, I would look at other trainers that would say some really outrageous stuff and be like, ain't nobody threatening his business. Mm-hmm. But going back to Flores, so coach, we've always talked about why aren't there more minority coaches? Why aren't there this? And I'm going to preface this. I do believe, and I've talked to a couple of front office people that are Black, and they're telling me like, yo, we got more Black coordinators than we've had in years. We've got more Black GMs, more Black scouts, more director of player personnel guys than we've had in years. In about 4, they said 4, but I'm gonna go in 10 years. The league is gonna look different. But that's not now. Mm-hmm. So when Brian Flores gets fired, and there's 2 things that he's going up against, and I've had to argue with Black people who are right. He's disgruntled. We would have never known about this if this didn't happen. Same as Cap. We would have never known the kneeling, all the other stuff would have never happened if that. And you can say, like, and the other part of it is Flores was fired from Miami. Right, wrong, or indifferent. If he didn't get fired, Flores isn't going to sue the NFL. He was actually, there's documents that he was happy as of 2 years ago, and he was grateful. But the old curmudgeon owners, they put a rule in place, probably based on pressure from society, but they put a system of rules in place. The Rooney Rule is one of them. The other one is a part of the CBA. There's no tampering with former players and things. So I'm going to go with the big one first, the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule basically states that I have the opportunity to interview and have just as equal a job as anybody else. And you're not just going to, and the one thing they really try to focus on is that this is not just a farce. We've all joked and said we know it's a farce.
Mm-hmm. In other words, they're not bringing in.
They're just not
a minority candidate just to satisfy the rule. The Rooney Rule says that when you hire a new coach in the NFL, you have to interview a minority candidate.
So, like the Texans, we know that was a farce. I can't think of his name. Hines Ward has never even coached in the NFL, let alone become a head coach. Miami Dolphins, they brought in Mike Locksley. Locksley's average at Maryland. Like I hate to say, we don't get those opportunities. We ain't like the Cardinals coach. We don't get to fail in college and then you get an NFL job. You don't fail forward like that. But what happened with Flores is that before he took the interview, he gets a text from Bill Belichick telling him congratulations on getting the job. Mm-hmm. And he's like, wow, you really, Bill Belichick, one of the GOATs, is telling you congratulations on getting the job. He's like, whew. Like if you text me and you're like, yo, man, good, congrats. I'm like, man, wow, okay. I'm about to knock this interview out of the park.
Right.
And then you guys are going back and forth. And then Bill's like, wait a minute, hold up. My bad.
Wrong Brian.
I meant to text Brian. And then you're like, wait a minute, what you mean? And then he's not answering anymore, and he's not doing this. And you have to go. Now, you got to interview, though. So you got to go sit in front of these people, and you're not getting this job.
You already have a resume if you're him, Brian Flores.
You're not
you're not Hines Ward.
Forget that. You are the most qualified coach in this search, like in this carousel. You didn't you finished with 2 winning seasons. And Miami people probably would argue, say like, yo, you probably shouldn't have got fired in Miami. And when they left with Miami, this is going to season a little bit for the next thing. They've been taking shots at you. They've said you're hard to work with. Nobody wants to work with you all along while you're winning. But you're going into this situation thinking like, okay, I got this chance. So you got to sit here. They got to do the dinner. They got to do the interview. And you're like, man, I gotta be professional. But just I would be irate knowing that or feeling like this will happen. But then again, it's still a feeling, right? You don't know if this is true or not. Then after you do the interview, Brian Dable. So like now you're like, wait a minute. I got this text message a week ago. Mm-hmm. I did my interview yesterday. And now they're announcing that this guy is the head coach. So this wasn't a lie. They literally brought me in for only one reason, which is what the rule was made for. It's not I had to tell people it's not criminal, but civil. But from a civil court standpoint, you can't create a set of rules that you're going to operate by and then purposely skate around them. Now he has to prove it. The text messages are obviously enough to warrant that. But like I told Av, as a guy who's been sued on the civil side, bruh, they're going to ask for Bill Belichick's text messages. They're going to ask for the call logs. They're going to do all these different things. And for anybody who's saying that he doesn't have a leg to stand on, what did we just see not too long ago? What happens with and when I say they're going to settle. The NFL had a huge nobody liked this John Gruden thing that happened. And they were just casually talking about it. Like just blah, 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 blah. So imagine the correspondence that's happening for Bill Belichick to know that Brian Dable got the job. That means he's talked to Dable. So there's text messages between those two.
That means he's talked to the Giants.
That means he's talked to the Giants.
Yeah.
So when they go to Discovery, and who knows? And what happens with Discovery on this level, and this is why Gruden got implicated, because Gruden wasn't even a part of that. Is you got all your paralegals going through all this data, and all of a sudden, all it takes is, this guy is queer. This guy is this.
Yep.
Oh, hey, this is interesting. Has nothing to do with our court case,
right? But
let's just leak.
It paints a picture.
Let's just kind of like scooch this over here to this side, and or this journalist or this person who wants to make a mark. And the NFL, we talk about boycotting all the time. Like you can boycott all day, man. Like they got 10 years, like they got these 10-year contracts, man. You ain't finna be that mad for 10 years. They're betting on eventually you're gonna come back around.
Well, I don't think this is gonna preclude him from getting a job at all. And I certainly don't think
I was gonna say the money. Like he's gonna sue, and then the settlement or the amount, if they do take it to court, the amount of money is going, that's the only way you can rock it. I think the change is coming anyway when it comes to hiring more black coaches. But this is the one thing that's weird. And I saw somebody post this. Why is the NBA doing it right? I'll say why. Because they have younger owners. They have owners that weren't around, that like they may have been born during desegregation, but they weren't making business moves then. Like they got a lot of black head coaches with a league that's primarily African American. Baseball has more minority coaches than now. Who should be mad is the Latins, because that thing is like one Latin coach. But my point is, why are the other sports that don't really?
But you know the answer to that. You already know the answer to that. Like football's far and away the biggest. It's the biggest business. It's the biggest relationship with advertisers. It's the biggest relationship with business. Like you already know the answer to this. It's the way it's always been. It's worked. It's working. Right? People pour billions of dollars into this product. Let's not risk that. Like that's the answer. It's sad, but it's what it is.
And I'm not even mad. It's the American way. One thing I've always told people this is that there's not a thing that's been wrong that we'll see maybe 50 years down the road or whatever that we'll read about that's morally wrong in America that was changed because everybody woke up one day and said, "Oh, this is morally wrong."
Right.
Money, war, something crazy has to happen to push America into the right direction. And I'm sure that's in other countries too.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I'm just, but the worst.
Unfortunately, there's far more racist places than America.
Oh, I know.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Right. Now, the thing that stinks though is when people try to make you feel like you're crazy for feeling it, and then when then this happens, and this is where all the black coaches come up. It's like, see, we told you, but y'all made me feel like I was crazy. Why can't you hire the best person? They didn't. So the conversation I had with a guy about the Jags, right? This is all the Giants had to do, right? And I know you said that probably didn't work, but literally, if they would have followed
that didn't mean for it to come out that way.
Oh, no, that's fine. No. But I'm saying my point is if all the Giants had to hire the best person, right? All you gotta do is phrase it this way. Let's say Hackett was that's our candidate number one. That's who we want. Have no problem with that. Don't say you hired him until you go through the process. Don't tell anybody, because let's say Hackett's number one, Byron interviews with you and Byron wows you. And now you have to give pause. Wow, I did not expect that to happen. That's what the Rooney Rule is supposed to do. It's supposed to give guys opportunities to come in and wow people.
Can we admit something, though?
Yeah.
This happens in every government position.
Oh, yes. Because government.
I say government because there's a set of rules that says you have to post a job.
Right.
90% of the time, that job's already filled.
But the reason why you have to go through the process is for the opportunity, because I've seen people who the job was supposed to be filled or the job was filled, but they got a candidate to come in and interview, and they were like, wow, damn, I didn't expect that.
Yeah,
we got to find a way to get this person on.
I'm thinking about football coaches.
Mostly coaches.
Man. It's like a high school. It's like, yeah, we want him, but we got to post a job. It's got to sit there for 7 days.
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
state of Florida is 30 days. Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
The only reason I know that is because like Jim Levitt, whatever, y'all could try to go. I can only talk about what I know, like what they've told me, so I don't know the paperwork behind it. But when they wanted to hire Jim Levitt, they knew they wanted to hire Jim Levitt, but they had to create a job. When they created the job, they had to post it. It has to sit there for 30 days before you can announce who to hire. And they have to actually go through an active interview process. It's still not perfect, but the worst thing you can do is but here's my thought. And there's another side to it too. Bill Belichick's the most buttoned-up coach in our lifetime. He doesn't make mistakes. Bill Belichick, you mean to tell me Bill Belichick don't have Black Brian? Like, hell, I got 4 Tonys. I'm gonna tell you this. There's 4 Tonys that I know, right? Mm-hmm. I got Asian Tony, white Tony, Tony, and then Tony. Tony's black because that's the Tony.
Is this kind of like Cigar Scott,
Strip Club Scott? So I don't get confused.
But now one Scott's like merging together, and it's like, what do we call him now?
But see, the thing is like, so I don't make the mistake, and I know if I just put Tony in my phone, I could be talking to anybody. Actually, perfect example. There's 2 JJs in my phone, and I had to go back and change it. Like there's J period, and then there's JJ. Mm-hmm. One time I'm texting JJ, the producer, when I need to text the other JJ, and I've confused myself.
His Black History text had me cracking up.
That was hilarious. That was great. I love it. People were like, and then people but
anyway, go ahead.
My point, Bill Belichick don't
hit that fan. You won't have Miles turn that fan on. You working up a sweat over there, my man. Calm down.
No, it's that second COVID shot. Oh, those side effects are interesting.
Yeah.
But like my thing is, I'm trying to figure out, is Bill Belichick the Bear Bryant of the civil rights movement? I've told people to me the most important figure in the civil rights movement isn't Malcolm X.
You think Bill Belichick did this on purpose?
When has Bill Belichick made a mistake this big?
Dude, I mean, they're both named Brian.
But what I'm saying is, like, Bill Belichick knows who Brian Dable is, and he plays Brian Flores twice a year.
Well, I know that, but it was a text, right?
Right.
I've done that.
But I'm saying, like, he knows, like, that's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
I'm not saying again, it's more of a joke, but I'm like, yo, did he do it on
purpose?
If
it works out, yeah, I got you.
Is he trying to say, like, it again? He's on the way out, and this is why I was telling people, like, yo, you're gonna find. The NFL needs to like get in front of this because it's going to be messy. Marvin Lewis gets on. He dictates the exact same situation years ago, though, with John Fox with the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers called him to come in and interview when he was with the Ravens. And then anyways, the story was on there. You can go look it up. I'll share it on my Twitter at BigGameJames_36. But he's talking about this. And then ESPN said, rumor has it that John Fox is going to be the coach of the Carolina Panthers. And he goes and he brings Ozzie and Brian Billett. He said, hey, you need to talk to y'all about something. They're like, what's going on? Hey man, ESPN is saying John Fox is going to be the coach, but they just called me to come in and do an interview. Like, what do I do? And Ozzie's telling him all these stories that he knows from as an old black man in the NFL, all these things. And he's like, you have to, and Brian Bill's like, you have to take the interview. Because a lot of people were like, if you felt that way, why did you do the interview? He's like, you have to take it. You can't not take the interview. He said, but ask him. The Panthers owners told him straight to his face, no, we haven't hired any. We haven't made the decision. We don't know where we stand on him. Does the interview. Next morning, Carolina Panthers hired John Fox. We're going to find more stories that are similar to this, and the longer they let it drag out, the worse it's going to sound.
Let me ask this. So is this about specifically the Rooney Rule?
I think it's
like,
that's in a court of law. And again, that rule, along with other stuff, is why the NFL has
no. I'm not saying I'm not saying this. I'm saying when you're talking about this stuff, it's like
man, I think the Rooney Rule it has great intentions. It's just not it's not. I don't want to say legislated. Like who's going to punish the NFL owners? Who's going to punish the NFL owners for not abiding by the Rooney Rule? You need an outside entity to really be able to monitor that. And that becomes hairy too. And I'm with that. But my thing is, though, I think it's going to time will change this because the Rooney Rule has affected other aspects of the NFL. We talked about this. I think if you get a black GM, they're going to obviously know more of the black candidates and they'll be able to make hires. But until you get that, like, you don't really know. But the other interesting thing, because this Flores situation, obviously on the antitrust law side, which is what the Rooney Rule affects, which is how the NFL makes their money, and they don't pay taxes on a lot of this stuff for that reason. Now we go to the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement that, again, the owners and the players literally agree that this is the rules that we are going to abide by. If the owner, Ross, of the Miami Dolphins truly did these two things, the tank for Tua said, I'm going to give you $100,000 for every loss. That shows that that's something that you didn't put your guys in the best position. Well, that's wrong.
There's a whole bunch of issues there.
Right. So that, and then two, if he really tried to have you go talk to Tom Brady, before he was out of his contract, when everybody was rumored that he was supposed to be going somewhere, to try to bring him in, and that's why you didn't do it. Again, this is a collective set of rules that you asked for, or even if you didn't, you agreed upon with 31 other individuals, and you chose to not do this.
Listen, man,
you're messing it up. So now, if I'm DeMaurice Smith, I want to know more because it gives me more leverage from my players.
Smith. Forget DeMaurice Smith. When you talk about trying to bury something and settle something, they're going to settle it because if this comes out that he was being paid to lose games, do you know what's going to happen to the gambling relationships? And like, you want to follow the money on this? Mm-hmm. That's the money. And I'm not discounting the Rooney Rule thing. That's the one they're going to try to bury.
You know what I think happens more out of this than anything else? And we talked, actually, it's funny that this came out because I think Friday's show, we talked about the Clippers owner and some of the other stuff. I think to save face, they're going to force a sell. If this continues to get out and more things, like, this is early, but like, if you can't have this many scandals in one calendar year for your NFL, like, this is crazy. But you may not get more black coaches immediately, but we may find another minority owner. And I think if that came out of it, then cool. But
I would love to see a list of minority billionaires.
It's not deep.
No, I know that. Yeah. I just love to see. I would love to dig into a list of minority billionaires and see like commonalities and what they do, like what they own.
But like, I know guys who would want to do it, and they would need more help. They wouldn't be able to just outright own it because their billions is strong, but it ain't that strong. Like, even Shad, I think Shad's 4.8, and he's able to afford. I think that's what they just listed, 4.8 billion.
No, dude, they said his sports enterprise alone
is 4.8. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
I'll put it like this: if they went to Jay-Z, they went to Puffy, Dr. Dre. Most of the billionaires are entertainers. There's the one guy who owns all the television. Byron.
BET.
No. Actually, he's the one that everybody talks about. They used to own the Panthers,
Pelicans.
No, the
Hornets.
Charlotte Hornets.
Same thing.
But his name is Byron. I just can't think of, can't forget. But he owns the Weather Channel. But he's a billionaire. He sued Comcast. And that thing went all the way to the Supreme Court. And that had implications like constitutional implications. Like if he lost for African Americans, that could have really set things back. But he ended up winning. And that's how we have more channels available for people to buy and do things like that. But he's somebody that could, there are a couple, Oprah, but there's a couple that you could go and get. But I think that's really the only really cool.
Who bought the? I don't remember who bought the Clippers.
I don't.
From.
I didn't really.
It was a white guy.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure. Like I know, like the Nets owner's Russian, if I remember correctly. The point is that in all of this, the reason why people are really angry, and I wouldn't even say like truly just angry. They're just like, this is what we've been. It's funny because it happened the first day of Black History Month. But people have been telling, like, stop calling people crazy. I think Dave Chappelle had the greatest thing that he said. Stop calling people crazy because it's dismissive. Mm-hmm. Like, actually sit back. If it were one or two, not just this NFL situation, but like there's Black people that could tell you their stories of going to get interviewed. And if everybody has a consistent story that's very similar from different parts of the world, different walks of life, it's probably some truth to it.
You know, I just thought of something. There's these I'll call them intern positions in the NFL where you go and you work for a team during training camp and through preseason and things like that. And in coaching circles, like, you just kind of know. If you're a white guy, don't even apply.
Right.
Don't even apply for it, because that like, I almost think that people who are embedded in the sport but not owners just kind of get this. It's the people who aren't in the sport that, we mentioned this the other day about the difference in applying or interviewing for a head coaching job and applying at Wawa. Like, it's just a whole different thing, man. It's like these interviews are 8 hours over days, and these interviews are CEO positions and all that kind of stuff. And you can do whatever you want to do to try and push a narrative down people's throats. But at the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. There's one African-American coach right now, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Right now, I think so.
Is Tomlin the only one?
What's wrong? That was just somebody. They were like, he brought it. It just kind of brought it full circle. He's like, hey, you can't try text messaging the wrong woman with the same name. Like we all know a time when, like, all right, yeah. But
you ever caught yourself
before I text message the wrong person?
Before you hit send, you're like, text something, you're like, oh, and I don't have to do anything.
Bob Johnson's BT guy, but yeah, but nah, that's that I've caught my so perfect funniest story. I had when I broke up with my high school girlfriend in college, and it was some years later or whatever, and one of my friends just randomly talking to her said, JC cheated, blah blah blah. It was whatever. And then she's coming over here, and then I had two friends, Christy, both of them white, but one for Christy was there, and I think Christy was giving information, and then there was Christy, who was on the basketball team, and Christy from the basketball team hit me on the sidekick. And I'm like, you got some nerve.
Sidekick.
You got some nerve to hit me up. You over here feeding this girl this information that happened years ago. I mean, I was going in.
Wrong Christy.
And she's just like, okay.
You just told all on yourself.
She was like, I was just asking if you wanted to go grab some lunch. If you wanted to go get lunch.
She's like, never mind.
And then I'm looking and I'm like, my bad, Christy.
The fact that was 15 years ago and you still remember that?
It was just funny because
you still remember the feeling too?
Yeah, I just remember the feeling because it's like, again, on her side, completely innocent, and you're just getting unloaded on. And even if I said those same things to my other friend, it would have been wrong. But it's just, I've been there where you say the wrong thing, or you're about to send an email out.
Yes.
And it's to the wrong email. And then like you just, again, like even like going back to the deposition stuff, like I've been deposed before, and what's worse is when you have to answer for stuff that other people's mess ups, and it's affecting you.
Yeah.
So in all of this, again, like I said, Bill Belichick probably would be scot-free. Imagine you're the owner of oh, did you hear about John Elway? John Elway made a black coach sitting. He was late for like 3 hours late. Like just imagine you're the I'll just use the
John Elway was 3 hours late.
Gotcha. Just imagine you're the Broncos owner, and you did something, and like it wasn't even that big of a deal, but now you're implicated. Now you got to go sit in this room with stale coffee with his attorney, and they're asking you all kinds of questions, and some of them personal. A lot of them don't have anything else to do with
taking them down a different trail.
Yeah, and it's like it's not. You don't. You know what you said. More if you're innocent, you know what you said. You know what's in your text messages. The problem is you don't know what the other people said,
right,
and what's in their text messages. And then what they'll do. They'll find something that where they talked about you, and it might not have been in the best light.
Yeah.
And they're going to bring it to your deposition. They're going to bring it up to you so that they can see if you're going to flip. It's just a lot of headache that goes into being like student. If you would do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, we wouldn't be in this situation. But people refuse to do it, and there's going to be consequences and penance to it.
We got to move on. Green Acres. We got to get to Green Acres. GreenAcreSporting.com. Get over to Green Acres for all of your hunting and fishing needs. Turkey. Is that what you said you want to do? Turkey hunt? Duck hunt?
Duck hunt. Oh, no, turkey hunt too.
Both? Yeah. Yeah. Regardless of what you like to shoot, they got you covered over there. They got everything there at Green Acres. And if you don't know really what you're looking for, maybe you're new to the game, maybe you're just trying to educate, there's not a better place to go than Green Acres. They've got concealed weapons classes every day. Our boy Z will walk you through whatever it is you're looking for. Maybe you can tell them, but you don't really know what to look for. He can guide you. So get to greenacresporting.com. Get over there. Still got AR-15s out. All kinds of stuff over at Green Acres. We promise you it's worth the drive to Normandy Boulevard to get there.
FSU just announced they signed up a PWO at quarterback.
Yeah, I know. Kid from South Florida, right?
Could have got wider.
No, they couldn't have.
They couldn't have? Okay. All right, well, cool. All
right. Well, maybe. I don't know. I talked to them about that.
All right. Well, cool.
How are they doing today?
FSU?
Yeah.
I think we got the one offensive lineman officially signed, but he was already committed. Nobody of note. But what's crazy is Florida State right now is 16th nationally. Florida's 17th, I believe.
I've got them at 18 and 19.
Florida. Okay, so that's what it is.
247. Yeah.
And then Miami's right behind that. Was that what I saw, or that was another?
I'm scrolling down. I'm scrolling down. Miami's 39. Now I can refresh that.
Miami's got 12 commits, 10 4-stars, 3 2-stars. They're 220 and 247. So it says 18, 19, 20.
Oh yeah, okay. I refreshed it. Yeah. You're right.
Which doesn't.
I mean, Miami's average is better than all of them. Miami's average is really good,
considering they don't have any coaches. Which
10 4-stars out of 12. That's legit. Yeah, man.
Which is kind of goes to my whole can we go back to recruiting a little bit?
Yeah.
My hated clock.
I don't really want to talk about the Jags right now.
Yeah, not at all. Just dumpster fire still.
Yeah.
Just hire somebody at this point so that you can fire them in a year. Do what the Texans did. They just bring somebody in, sign them to a 2-year deal. They know they ain't getting nothing. This would be the most money that this person's ever made before. So
Brian Flores.
Shoot.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
I actually like Brian Flores.
We went there last week, all black staff.
Yeah. But here's my hated clock. It has it has everything to do with Harbaugh at Michigan. And the rumor is that he's going to take either the Vikings job, or he actually might be, because of the relationship with Ross, the owner for the Dolphins, that he may take the Dolphins job. Early signing period's got it. They've either got to make serious changes to it, or they've got to just get rid of it altogether.
Yep.
And it's not just about the Harbaughs of the world. That's a part of it. I think if you have to recruit a kid longer, you're going to develop more relationship with the kid. So then it's going to be a little harder to push the kid into the portal, which again, I'm telling you people, every one of these kids in the portal ain't jumping because they're afraid of competition.
Right,
They're
right.
being told that they need to go to the portal. But I don't care what people say. I love Florida State to death, but again, I would have, if I could have done it all over again, and I knew we would be having this conversation. Now, I probably wouldn't have this conversation because I wouldn't have had the platform, but roll with me. I'd have went to fam, I'd have joined to play football, joined the frat, enjoyed the college experience more because I did not get a chance to really. I had a ball. Don't get me wrong, but like you don't get to go to all these college parties. I have my friends are a couple people that I kind of went to like different church things with, and mostly my teammates. I didn't meet somebody in this class and we went on these trips during spring break and all of these other stuff. Again, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying this is the situation. But like,
well, it's worse now because now everything's virtual.
Right.
You can have that.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess, yeah. But my point is that I went to Florida State because I wanted the opportunity to play for the legendary Bobby Bowden. I would have probably went when I grew up. Penn State was a school that I liked because I liked seeing Joe Pa. I liked seeing I forgot. Nebraska was where I used to want to go until they came up with the video game and they put recruiting. And I looked at where Nebraska was on the map.
Yep.
And then I played games with them, and it seemed like every home game it was a blizzard for the video game. So then I was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. But you develop these rapports, these guys stayed. There was a sense of loyalty. That's why I understand where fans talk about that, because coaches weren't fired as quick and coaches didn't leave anywhere near as quick. It was like and it wasn't just to go to another college. Like there wasn't lateral moves like that. Steve Spurrier went to the NFL. Guys went to the NFL, or Bobby would have went to Alabama had Alabama not told him he had to interview. But that's like Urban with Notre Dame. Like that's like he grew up. That was his childhood. He wanted to be Bear. Bear Bryant was his idol.
Right.
But these kids are being forced to sign early. They're recruiting them early. They're committing early. Some get their scholarships pulled at the last minute. I'm not even here to talk about that. But they commit to the men, whether it's the head coach or it's the assistant coach. And you get me to sign, I forgot, was it December 15th? I signed, and now all of a sudden,
December before that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm a cornerback, and now my cornerback coach leaves.
Yep.
Like, and I don't know who they're bringing in. I don't like. I had that. Just to put it in perspective, that grown ass man manipulated me, because that's what it is. Any other situation, like if we took it and it was like a grown man talking to your daughter, and he finessed your daughter to want to move to Miami, and then he bounced, and your daughter's got to go to Miami, you're, as a dad, you're going to be mad. He sold her the world. He sold her some dreams. And I think early signing period either makes coaches have to wait, or they get fired or move on quicker, so that now the kid can reestablish and reevaluate.
I think the general public gets that now, though. Like, I think everybody's on that side.
Okay.
I think what I'm saying, though, is where you're going with this, though, is the change of the rule. Like, will they change the rule?
Right. Yeah, because if Harbaugh leaves to go to the NFL, everything, like, that's what's wrong with college.
Well, you just told me Locke's interviewed in Miami, right?
That was a Rooney Rule thing. But yeah, but like,
even
if Locks would have got the job and left Maryland to go to the Dolphins, all of those things are everything that's wrong with college football. It's not the NIL fine. All these other things, that's the manipulation.
You couldn't blame, like, some of these coaches they're getting significantly more money. They're getting, like, you can't blame them either.
It's the business side.
So what do you do?
But it's kind of like everybody gets to play the business side of it, except for the people who make the business.
You know what I think? I think a couple of rules that they need to change. We've talked about this before. I don't think you should be able to get an offer until there are certain steps that you have cleared academically.
I agree with you.
I don't think freshmen should get offers.
And
I've got, by the way, for the record, I've got like 6
but you want to know
freshmen that have offers. So
this is the wildest thing. I just talked about, like, can you help us be such and such, such and such and such? And then other sports, they don't offer you unless you can score points in nationals. Every other sport in the NCAA has made these changes where you can't offer middle. Like softball was notorious.
You know why no other sport has generates the revenue from
Right.
recruiting.
But what I'm saying is not like they don't have a model to follow.
I know, but when was the last time you went to 247 to look at y'all softball recruiting rankings?
I've never gone to it. I don't really. I think recruiting is weird. It's one of those aspects.
But you're gonna look.
Don't do, but I will go look at rankings.
Yep.
But fine, it's not a real offer. Like which it isn't. But like it's literally.
It's not, yeah.
You
cannot commit.
Offer,
like
you just say you can't commit, and what it will do is, actually, it will make the junior and the senior classes even more harder. Like there will be more competition. There will be more. I don't think you'll lose the revenue that.
Well, this is never.
I don't want a kid with no upper lip hair because I don't know what he's going to be.
Well, this is never going to go away because what we've gotten to with all of this stuff is the summer camp circuit, and I don't care what the colleges say. Y'all sell it to somebody else about we're only getting $50 a kid. Yeah, but you got 6,000 there. And the university's got 6,000 people on their campus and siblings and parents, and it's generating money for restaurants and hotels.
The mega camp at Florida State.
It was wrapped around like
parking. You got to pay for parking. You got to pay for the hotel.
And if you take away 9th and 10th graders, you don't have that.
Can I even like pull the curtain back and you can yell at me if you want, not you, but because if you're not doing this, you're stupid and you shouldn't have a head coaching job anyway. You know what you do? You put the hotels on the preferred hotels. You know what they have to do in the state of Florida? It's the taxes that they get you on the hotel. That hotel can't spend it. They have to use that to attract more people to the city. So what they do is they pay $10,000 a pop for people who can give them more than 100 rooms, which is per night. So like if I got 50 kids and they stay in 2 nights, I got my 100 nights. I can go get 10 from this hotel. I could pick 10 hotels and get $100,000. Miss me with the $50 per kid.
Right.
There's all kinds of you're not paying for the apparel. Hell, and if you there's all kinds of other marketing.
I mean, if you are paying for the apparel, you're paying $2 a shirt. There's not.
It's
by the way, and just the social media outreach of having everybody there tweeting about it, like that's the reason why this is never going to change, though.
I'm not saying don't do the camps. I think those are important, and I think you can still do a lot of the stuff to like put people on awareness. And there's still going to always be the development of relationships because you can't just go and recruit a kid when they're 17 now, because you'll be out. Well,
they've worn me down. I can't lie, man. Like it was. I used to get calls from parents to be like, "My kid needs to go to camp." Your kid's in that grade. You don't need to go. Now he does.
Yeah,
because the colleges, if you're not being recruited at that point, then you're behind the 8 ball already. It's crazy, but I agree. The early signing day needs to go. I just don't know what the answer is because now, if you look at today's signing day, the regular signing day, the normal signing day. Well, there's still 8 or 7 NFL jobs open, right? There's still college coaches moving around. I know that there's several colleges still interviewing. Hell, I don't know how many more people Napier is going to hire. My gosh,
he's got the money for it.
It's
just, I guess those are the big things. Like I just don't.
Do they really have the money? Like
I don't know.
I'm just going to call this out.
Paying these people.
I'm going to call this out. That's my point. When we saw that budget, we were like, "Whoa, that's a lot of money." I thought he was going to bring on like 30 staff, and then you start doing the numbers. You're like, okay, these people are making a decent wage and all. No, bro. Like
he's probably bringing on people that are making $30,000 a year.
He has to
work
100 hours a week.
Forgive me. There's no other way for me to describe it. Well, yes, okay. Indenture service type conditions.
Yeah.
It ain't fun. I can tell you that much. Like the gear you get ain't worth it. Like in the stress that you have to have. Like, yeah, I mean, they're gonna hook you up now. You get some
Do people really look at it that
way? Fans.
I'm up here at 30.
Not the people who are working, but like,
but do they? Do fans look at that?
Oh man, I want that sweatshirt.
Like I take that job for that sweatshirt.
Mike Norvell wears this gray FSU sweatshirt. That's cold. It's not. I want Mike. If you're listening, next time you see me, you can give me yours, but or somebody like I ain't gonna fit mine. No. But
Mike wears like a small.
You'll be people like, man, I would go do their social media, man, because I know they get this sweet gear. I'm like, dog, I'm not getting out of bed for $30,000. Not to work as much as they work.
I mean, if you're on your way up, I get it. But like, you look at who
it's the new way. They've taken the old mentality of coaching like how you had the student assistant, GA, work your way up. They've used that to the off field.
Well, I told you the guy that followed me, what his title was. Like, they're just making titles.
These
up,
titles
man.
are awesome. The director of Jordan apparel Christmas. Director of making sure that the Jordan ones aren't creased. His job is to look at every one of the players and say your shoes are creased.
Pruitt is the University of Florida offensive quality control - QB development coach.
So what's your quarterback coach do?
I mean, they've got a quarterback, they've got an OC, they've got a quarterback coach, they've got a quarterback coach assistant, they've got this guy.
But how does he even you can only have? Well, I know in the games you can only have so many on the field, but at practice you can only have so many.
I don't know.
Do so much. Who do you listen to as a kid? Do I listen to the quarterback development coach that's supposed to be developing me? Do I listen to my quarterback coach who's in charge of playing me? Or do I listen to my offensive coordinator? It's like I got 5 people in the segment room that are.
No, I know. Dylan. By the way, Dylan McNamara is who y'all saw in y'all's PWO.
Now I will say this, Billy. If you want to get, I can't come. I'll have to wear my Bowls gear because that's orange and blue. I won't wear Florida apparel. But if you need a director of fullback development in short yardage specialty,
listen.
I'm here for you.
Don't be saying this stuff.
You could give me $35,000, and I only got to show up once or twice. I only got to show up in spring.
You don't be saying you're not going to wear Florida gear because you know as well as I do. They call you right now and offer you $500,000. You're gonna be gator chomping your ass off down there.
That has always been my number.
Yes.
Somebody said somebody's like, James, what would it take for you to go to a rival to be the strength and conditions? $500,000.
$500,000. James be recruiting on social media.
What about what about the assistant? $500,000 doesn't change.
Oh,
you got to give me $500,000. I could be the head or I could be an assistant. But $500,000 ain't changing it.
Real quick, and then we got to go. Just quick 8 o'clock. What are we doing with Friday night, Florida State?
Oh,
what in the hell is going on? Whose idea was this?
ESPN.
Okay, bump y'all. Because in Florida, I don't know if y'all are aware of this. It's the biggest high school playoff night there is.
There is a Seminole Groups posted this. I'm like, what the hell? Oh, this is great and blah blah blah. What's the one thing that everybody complains about with stores opening up on Thursdays? You need to be spending that time with your family.
Yeah.
Black Friday, you need to be spending that time with your family. That's the problem with America. We're not. But every time Americans get an opportunity to spend time with their family, you know what they do? They protest that shit. Quarantine for 2 months. All they said was at max 2 months. You can't force me to spend time with my family. How dare you? Who do you think you are? But this Friday thing, I told them that's taking away a recruiting weekend from us. I said, they were like, what do you mean? They could call. I said, all the good recruits are still playing. That's one. 2, they wrote article after article this last offseason about how hard it is to get to Tallahassee. So you mean it is one way to drive to Tallahassee. I-10.
Busiest travel day of the year.
Doesn't matter which way you get. You can get 95, I-10. 75, I-10. 319 coming from Georgia, I-10. You got to get on I-10. So now you got to get up because you want to have a primetime game at the butt crack of dawn after you just ate a whole bunch of food that was designed to make you sleepy, to drive 5 hours to go to Tallahassee. Like I said, for me, it's 5 hours. I'm leaving Cocoa. I gotta drive 5 hours to go to, and I only go every other year. So now I gotta take away from my family who I like my family. I actually enjoy when it's at Gainesville because then I get to spend an extra day. Miles has had to experience it. These women cook. The Friday is the best part of the Thanksgiving. Auntie Becky's getting up. She's making pancakes, eggs, and her world famous grits. And then they're gonna take the carcasses of the turkey and the ham, and they're gonna make a soup. And all you got to do, like Miles said, man, this would be great if I had some corn.
I knew this. I knew we were going to end up on food here. But
what I'm saying is I don't get to have this experience anymore because I want to go to the game. But not just me. So now you come out of town. I could go stay with my mama. Where you going to stay in Tallahassee on a major holiday with the game in town? It doesn't make any sense.
This is the dumbest thing, man. When I saw that, I thought it was a joke.
People are trying to say it's a good idea. And
it's a terrible idea. It's an awful idea.
This is what happens when you put people in. Like
taking your by the way, you talk about losing recruiting weekend, but here's the other thing you're doing. You're taking one of your biggest games, one of the most passionate games that plays well on TV, and you're making it to where all the recruits can't see it on TV because they're playing.
They're playing.
I mean,
It's crazy. It is purely for money motivation. And I hope they don't consistently do this because this is.
I hope they change it this year.
I hate it when I saw it.
Probably Trent Baalke's idea.
Probably. Definitely Baalke.
Let's put it on him.
Everything's Baalke's fault. But
Him and Flores.
And you know the first thing that these selfish SOBs had to nerve to ask me?
What?
So, James, what time is the tailgate?
Oh, I already thought of that.
And I'm like, bro.
Aunt Becky there.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my mind around how much I hate this right now.
You're going to have it.
I damn sure will. It might be the cheapest tailgate I've ever had because I'm probably just going to take all the leftover food and just bring it to the tailgate. You're going to eat Thanksgiving twice.
You sell that.
But I just think traditions mean something. And it's hard. It's like you can't bring your, because imagine if your kid's good. Like you want to bring your kid to the Florida State game. Now you got to go to a high school game. And again, it's going to be, hopefully, I hope the only way that this kind of can be kind of somewhat good is if it is an 8 p.m. game.
Well, it's got to be.
And
it has to be.
And people are bringing up the Egg Bowl and they're bringing up Bedlam. And I'm like,
ain't nobody trying to watch that.
Those aren't national. It's like, when's the last time Ole Miss, Mississippi? Now, granted, this game ain't going to be.
When's the last time you watched Ole Miss, Mississippi State?
So like most of the time, this rivalry is big because it used to mean whoever this winner was playing for the national championship.
Right.
That's why you keep there's nothing. My bad. And I hate to get on sorry. There's nothing stopping them from guaranteeing you a primetime spot on Saturday.
Right.
Like if that's the case, and you want the primetime spot, just lock it in.
It don't matter how bad the teams are; it's always going to pull ratings.
Yeah, we were sitting around watching a terrible football game this past Thanksgiving weekend.
The worst football game, like literally the worst football game I've ever seen. All right, we got to get to thehumidor.com for all your cigar needs. Type in sportsden when you check out. You get 20% off of your entire order. If you order a certain amount, you get free shipping as well. We'll be back on Friday. Who knows if the Jags will have a coach? Probably not. But we'll be here, even if they don't. We'll talk to you then.